Okay, so are we witnessing the absolute final evolution of modern media, or are we just watching a slow motion car crash that's been brilliantly packaged as a pay per view event? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to break down the highly controversial upcoming matchup between Ray J and Orlando Brown. We're really looking at how celebrity boxing has fundamentally shifted, right? It's gone from this niche novelty into literally the new reality TV. And more importantly, we're going to explore how deeply personal conflict is being structured, monetized, and then sold right back to us as mainstream entertainment.
Are we witnessing modern gladiators? Think about it. When these two figures step into the ring at State Farm Arena in Atlanta on August 15th, 2026, let's be entirely honest with ourselves. Fans are not tuning in to analyze jab techniques or defensive postures. No way. They are tuning in for the explosion. They want to see if real-life trauma, bizarre behavior, and intense personal drama will just detonate in real time under the bright lights. So as we unpack all this source material, we really have to ask ourselves, are we supporting a legitimate athletic comeback, or are we actively participating in a gladiatorial spectacle that just exploits vulnerable public figures?
You know, the Atlanta press conference brilliantly illustrated exactly what people are tuning in for. The standard pre-fight sports hype completely evaporated. Instead of talking about training camps, the whole thing devolved into absolute chaos filled with these graphic, sexually charged insults. And the absolute peak of this tension, during the ceremonial face-off, Orlando Brown pulled out a literal wad of cash and slapped Ray J across the face with it. Ray J, trying to keep a lid on his anger, responds with, "That's not cool, bro. You're lucky I let that slide." Meanwhile, Orlando Brown is completely unfazed, shouting, "I'll beat your ass. Stop playing with me." Security had to literally jump in. The hosts were begging them to tone down the explicit threats. It wasn't about sport at all. It was pure shock value.
But here is absolutely the most important number to understand this entire phenomenon: millions. That exact moment of the cash slap flooded social media instantly, generating millions of organic impressions in a matter of minutes. This instant engagement, it's the lifeblood of this new entertainment economy. The source material points out that in our current landscape, a chaotic press conference is often far more valuable than the physical match itself. Controversy is just a highly reliable cash cow. The promoters don't need these guys to have actual boxing credentials, they just need them to create a viral moment that guarantees pay-per-view buys.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the contenders, pop culture veterans.
So these aren't just random internet personalities, right? They are pop culture veterans with deep, deep histories. Orlando Brown is an incredibly talented former child star. We all remember him from Disney's That's So Raven and Family Matters. He even released an album in 2006 called Trade It All and transitioned into the food industry with Orlando Brown's $1 Million Fried Chicken. But his highly publicized battles with addiction and mental health have, sadly, made him an incredibly easy target for the internet outrage economy. Ray J, on the other hand, is an R&B veteran known for massive hits like One Wish and his role on Moesha. He's literally a reality TV pioneer and a highly successful consumer products entrepreneur. He created the Scoot e-bike and co-founded the massive wireless audio brand Raycon. Yet his life has also been defined by intense public scrutiny and, very recently, some major medical scares. So when these two massive personalities, both carrying immense talent and significant personal struggles, collide, the stakes go far, far beyond a simple boxing match. Which brings us to Section 2, monetizing viral outrage.
There is a very precise business model that structures all this controversy. It's essentially a three-step playbook used by platforms like the Zeus Network to transform human volatility into a super lucrative subscription model. Step 1, exploit real-life trauma and bizarre behavior. You take figures who are already navigating very public struggles. Step 2, escalate personal grievances via viral clips. You basically put them in a room, let the tension boil over, like we saw with the cash slap, and distribute those clips everywhere. Fans are no longer passive observers, they become active consumers in this carefully engineered feedback loop. And finally, step 3, sell the resolution as a pay-per-view subscription. Online arguments are systematically escalated until they can only be settled inside a paid arena. It guarantees huge numbers without requiring a single shred of athletic merit. And this brings us to a stark and frankly pretty disappointing juxtaposition. On one side, we have viral press conference chaos, which generates those millions of impressions purely on shock value. On the other side, we have legitimate athletic achievements. What a lot of people don't realize is that this viral fight was actually part of a historic female-led boxing card, headlined by undisputed champion Claressa Shields making a world title defense. But because of the cash-slapping spectacle, that legitimate, historic athletic achievement was completely overshadowed. The carefully crafted drama just swallowed the actual sport whole. Now we need to look at Section 3, the hidden medical dangers. Now, what's really interesting here is the terrifyingly short timeline leading up to this event. Follow this with me. In May of 2026, just weeks before the scheduled bout, Ray J was actually knocked out in an MMA fight by super hot fire. That exact same month, May 2026, he was hospitalized. He had to undergo severe evaluations for a concussion and, crucially, heart rhythm issues. Yet here we are, looking at August 15th, 2026, barely 3 months later, and he is scheduled to fight Orlando Brown. Stepping back into a ring after severe brain and heart trauma on that kind of turnaround, that is beyond alarming. And to understand just how alarming this is, we really have to talk about cardiomyopathy. This is a severe medical condition, leaving the heart operating at just a fraction of its normal capacity. The source reveals that Ray J's mother, Sanja Norwood, recently disclosed that he was actually diagnosed with this exact condition. Pushing a man with a documented severe cardiovascular condition into a high-stress physical fight raises some incredible ethical questions. As the source material bluntly puts it, a concussion and a failing heart, they do not care if the fight was organized just for internet clout. So the absolute crucial point is this. This is not harmless scripted theater. That is a highly, highly dangerous misconception. People see the wild trash talk and they just assume it's WWE-style entertainment. But the physical danger is very real. We are not watching athletes rebuild their lives through discipline. We are watching a highly profitable exploitation of a man with pre-existing cardiovascular conditions. When real-life medical crises are just brushed aside in favor of pay-per-view sales, a dangerous precedent gets set. The source notes that if the envelope keeps getting pushed like this, the industry will just escalate the violence until a preventable tragedy occurs on live television. Which leads us to Section 4, our role as consumers. I want to leave you with a question to just ponder for a moment. Are you genuinely entertained? Seriously, when you see those clips on your timeline, when you watch the press conference devolve, are you actually enjoying a competitive sport? Or are you simply scrolling through the wreckage of a digital car crash? This upcoming match is ultimately a mirror reflecting our own collective appetite for distraction. As a media consumer, your engagement really matters. Here is a clear breakdown of how we can shift this dynamic straight from the source's analysis. First up, we need to recognize packaged human tragedy for what it actually is, rather than mistaking it for competitive sports. Second, we have to stop funding platforms that thrive on the monetization of personal collapse. Remember, every single share, every click, comment, and purchase, it acts as a direct financial vote of confidence for this dangerous ecosystem. Third, actively support legitimate athletic achievements, like tuning in for Clarissa Shields' title defense. This reminds the industry that talent and training actually still have value. And finally, demand substance over spectacle, because until we do, the industry is going to gladly keep selling us the exact drama that we pretend to deplore. If you want to stay informed on how these media dynamics continue to reshape our pop culture landscape, you can subscribe to the URBT News Insider Track at urbtnews.com. It really is the best way for focused learners to keep a pulse on the shifting boundaries of entertainment and exploitation. I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder today. If we continue to reward the spectacle of human breakdown with our wallets and our attention, who will be the ones held responsible when the entertainment finally goes too far? Thanks for walking through this explainer with me. Keep learning and stay focused.